Yeah.
Awesome. You ready?
Yes.
Cool. So my name is Elijah Kelly. I'm a certified flight instructor with CrossAirOcean Flight School. I'm here on behalf of Mina Bennett, and I'm going to be showing you show you the different career paths and the different avenues of becoming a professional pilot. Not right out of high school. It can be right after high school, but honestly, whenever you want to take to the skies, get behind the yoke of an aircraft and start flying. So again, I'm here to demonstrate and explain the different avenues and career paths for becoming a pilot. So before we even get behind the yoke of an aircraft, there are some standard procedures that we have to follow prior to getting in the airplane. So the first thing is passing a medical exam. The medical exam is taken by an aviation medical examiner, an AME, and they will basically evaluate your health, whether it be your physical fitness or just your overall fitness, to see if you are fit to fly. Next, you need U.S. citizenship or the right type of visa. I'm not familiar with the type of visa, but I'll get back to you if anybody has questions on that. But U.S. citizenship is guaranteed. Next, you have to be proficient in the English language. That means speak, read, and write proficiently in the English language. Those are the big three things you need prior to starting your flight training. However, once you get closer to completing your pilot's license, whether it be your private pilot or your commercial pilot or something along the line of that, you have to pass two things. One of them is a written exam. So you're going to go to a testing center, take an exam on a computer, and then you'll get your score then. And once you pass that test, you have to take a practical test. A practical test is a mix of an oral exam, so you're having a conversation with an examiner, and then finally a flying test. So, what are the different avenues we can take to become a pilot? Well, we can get an aviation degree. We can go to a normal flight school, traditional flight school, like I'm working at myself at CrossAirOcean. And finally, we have the military training route. So, what does the aviation degree entail? So, this degree or this program involves going through a university or college and obtaining a degree in either aviation science or aviation management. I got aviation science because I didn't wasn't a huge fan of managing airports. I want to get more into like the physics and the science behind flying. So that's what I did. And most big universities that have flight programs actually have their own fleet of training aircraft. However, some might not always have their own fleet, so they partner up with traditional flight schools like the one I'm working at CrossAirOcean, and they basically combine their programs. Next, we have the traditional flight school. These flight schools have a pay-as-you-go mentality. So if right out of high school you wanted to start working and you weren't really free during the week, traditional flight schools are most definitely your option because for here, you can rent out the airplane and hire an instructor whenever you like. So a lot of my students actually fly on the weekends. So they're kind of weekend flyers. We get their training in during the weekend, and it's always fun. It's a lot of fun, always a blast. This one is by far a lot more flexible. So you're not doing college classes. You're not flying, 5 times a week. It's whenever you can, more adherent to your schedule. And again, you fly in lab type classes, and in addition, you take college courses such as weather or air traffic control. That's in the flight school. For here. It's just flying and a little bit of ground. This one is most definitely more cost effective and time efficient in the longer run. And finally, we have military training. Joining the military is outstanding. However, becoming a military aviator or an aviator in the military, whether it be the Army or the Navy or the Air Force, those pilot slots are extremely competitive. In addition, there are stricter medical practices. You'd have to have a college degree. After that, you have to go and become a commissioned officer. And then finally, you have to pass a hard test that only has about a 30% pass rate. So once you join the military, you get your flight slot, you're locked in for about 10 years, so you don't have a whole lot of room to go. So if you wanted to go to the airlines, you'd have to wait after your 10 years of service. So what are the pros and cons of the aviation degree program going through university or going through a traditional flight school? So the aviation degree typically lasts about 5 to 6 years and has a pretty steep cost. However, in addition, you do get a college degree, and there are less hour requirements for going to the airlines or flying cargo, things like that. When going through a traditional flight school, it is more cost effective because, again, you're paying as you go. It doesn't take as much time because you can get the training as you need. And also, it's one of the fastest ways to get to the airlines. You don't have to worry about college courses. You just do your flying and then get your hours and then go. And then finally, again, you have a more flexible schedule. So let's take a look at my traditional flight school, CrossAirOcean. So these are the license and the ratings that we offer. Everything from professional pilot, instrument rating, commercial pilot, your multi-engine rating, and then finally flight instructor. Let's take a look at the private pilot's license. The private pilot's license is kind of like the intro license. It's like when you first get your learner's permit, you can take an aircraft, you can go out, you can fly your friends, your family, practice maneuvers. However, you can't accept money for flying. This license only requires about 40 hours, and you're not allowed to fly into clouds or adverse weather. So it's kind of like, again, the intro license, or I like to call it the learning license, because that's where you really get to learn how to fly. Next, we have the instrument rating. The instrument rating allows you to fly in adverse weather and trains you to only fly by using your instruments. So no looking outside, looking only inside the aircraft. Next, you can fly into clouds, and you honestly become a much safer pilot because when you've done the training and you've learned to fly the aircraft just from the instruments, you don't even need to look outside to fly. And finally, most of commercial flights are actually instrument rated requirements. And again, for this, you need an additional 40 hours of instrument time. Next, we have the commercial pilot's license. Commercial pilot's license allows you to fly for hire. However, the hour requirement is a little bit more because you will be working and you will be flying for hire. So the hour requirement is 250 hours, and you get to fly complex aircraft. What's a complex aircraft? An aircraft, or a complex aircraft, is not like one of our normal training aircraft. It has retractable landing gear, it has extendable flaps, it has a high pitch or a high performance propeller and a high performance engine. It's basically like a race car of the sky. It's a lot of fun to fly. Next, we have the multi-engine aircraft. This is an additional rating off of your pilot's license. So this isn't required, but most airlines will require this eventually. And for the multi-engine training course, you get to fly an aircraft with 2 engines. Those aircraft, they fly fast, they fly high. So that's always something that you should want to pursue. And finally, we have the flight instructor certificate. Me. You get to teach people how to fly, you get to get paid for it, and it's a great way to build time to kind of get you on the fast track to the airlines. It's a lot of fun. I didn't think I would like teaching until I finally became a flight instructor, and I love it every day. And I'm so thankful that I got my flight instructor license. These are our airplanes. We have a Piper Cherokee in the top left. Next, we have an Alto, which is the top right. That aircraft doesn't have a normal yoke. It actually has a joystick. So it's a really cool fly. The PA-34 is our Piper Seneca. The Seneca is our only multi-engine aircraft, but oh, she flies. And finally, our most abundant aircraft, the Cessna 150, an extremely stable aircraft and an extremely fun aircraft to train in. Finally, these are our avenues. Once you get all your hours and you're looking to build time before you get to the airlines, you can have a multitude of jobs. The most common one is flight instructor. However, if you couldn't really see yourself in the shoes of a teacher, you are totally okay, and there are a bunch of different alternatives you can follow, like pipeline patrol, skydive pilot, a survey pilot, or just small charter operations. Once you get all your hours, you can then go to corporate pilot or feeder cargo, or finally regional airline. Regional airline is just like the smaller airline, not flying the really big airplanes, flying the smaller ones. But again, you still get time, you still get hours, you still get paid, and it is a great avenue. And then finally, once you build up your time, get through your regional airline, you can then go to either major cargo or the major airlines. Major airlines are Delta, Southwest, American Airlines, United. Those are the major airlines. And from there, that's where you get to fly the big stuff and have a lot of fun. Thanks for listening to our presentation. I sincerely appreciate you taking your time out of your day to come listen to what I have to say. If you have any questions, you can email this email or go to our website or contact us on this phone number. Finally, you can scan the QR code on your right to win a free intro flight. Does anybody have any questions? Let me see.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, you can either put them in the chat or come off mute and ask.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hi, Heather.
Hello.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good.
Good. I am just wondering if you guys offer any sort of scholarships or grants or financial aid or anything for kids still in high school looking to get some flight hours.
So at the high school level, I'm not too sure, but I know at the college
Okay.
level there is an Air Force ROTC scholarship. From there,
ROT.
you get a substantial amount of money that's given directly to us, and then that covers a good chunk of your flight training, most of private pilot instrument, and even somewhat into commercial.
Okay, so that's once they've graduated.
Yes,
Okay. Thank you.
absolutely.
Elijah, I have another question from Quincy. Do they do drug screenings before each training?
There are not drug screenings before each training. However, once you get to the airlines, there's very consistent drug screening.
And another question is, what are medical disqualifiers?
The main medical disqualifiers that I can think of are high blood pressure, diabetes, epilepsy, and those are like the big three. If you have any of those are typically disqualifying. Any major heart conditions they'll disqualify you. But aside from those, if you're young and you're healthy, there won't be any issues.
Any more questions? You're welcome. All right, so if no more questions, thank you for joining. Make sure you try to win that free intro flight, or you can email CrossAirOceans. I have a question for you, Elijah. How long
Absolutely.
have you been with them?
I've been with them since December. I just got hired. So
Oh,
a
so
little
you
bit of
just
time.
did. Here you are. Here you are
Yep.
doing a college income thing. Perfect. Okay.
Absolutely. Yep. I love to give back any way I can.
Okay. All right. Thank you for joining, everyone. And Elijah, I will see you again then at 5:30. I'm just gonna stay. You'll see me on here, but I'm walking away. I gotta go.
All right, awesome.
All right. See you
Thanks,
soon.
Elijah.
Absolutely. Right.